That's right, we're back with some more Commander action. This is only a short rest, but I'll actually be back to some 7-point Old School Singleton videos in short order. But for the time being, I wanted to cover another game that I played a couple days ago with my new and improved Nin the Pain Artist deck against Nicodemus Fett. This game was absolutely amazing. It was kind of incredible, actually. I put the deck, well, I didn't put it together, but I made some revisions. Made that video against Bear Claw, queued up another game, and right away had just another incredibly intense, close affair that was more than worthy of a YouTube video, and properly Magic Online cooperated, and we got a full working replay. So sit back, get ready. This one is one for the ages. Nicodemus is playing a brand new commander, actually, that just showed up in Kaldheim, Jorn, God of Winter, which is really quite interesting. If you play a million snow permanents, and they certainly abound in Kaldheim, you can either play it as just a 3/3 that can kind of effectively double all your mana producers and some of your potential snow-based creatures. And if you want to, you can play the other side. You can play it as the Rhyme Staff. And it's kind of interesting, actually, because you can play it initially as a creature. If it dies, you can replay it as Cauldron the Rhyme Staff and go back and forth based on the way the game is unfolding. So very cool and flexible in the Sultai colors. Not sure how much this guy competes with something like Tassiger, but is a very interesting commander, and I guess Muldrotha as well. Another really powerful Sultai commander. We'll see how this thing unfolds, but it is capable of dealing tons of pressure early, as any green-based commander that can accelerate your mana can do. I have a phenomenally good hand, actually. I've got Dak Faden, great mana, early defense in Vandal Blast, and of course Thran Dynamo. And yeah, this is pretty much a snap keep. It's obviously not an ideal hand because it's a bit slow and I don't have counter magic. But barring him getting a really, really super fast start, I feel quite comfortable with this hand. So let's kick it off. Oh, and Nicodemus is going first. So I just need him to not have too much early pressure. I see a 4. So he actually mulligans, and unfortunately he mulligans into Mana Crypt. Ugh, painful. It's kind of interesting, actually. I see way more people playing with the Masterpiece version of Mana Crypt online than the regular one these days. And it makes me wonder if the Masterpiece version is actually cheaper online than the regular version. I'm not really sure about that. It's certainly different in the regular environment. Actually, I have no idea what the Masterpiece Mana Crypt costs. I guess all the versions of Mana Crypt are pretty expensive, given how coveted it is, but it'd be something to look into. Anyway, this means he's going to play his 3/3 on turn 1. And when I said I didn't want to face any early pressure, this is kind of the opposite of that. And provided he has another land here, he has upwards of 6 mana next turn, although 2 of that mana is divided between 2 attack steps. But either way, it's going to be very problematic. I'm very glad to have Vandal Blast here. I was really hoping to get something like Mox Diamond. If I'd drawn Mox Diamond or any type of Accelerator, really, even Sol Ring, I would have almost certainly let him have one turn with the Mana Crypt so that I could steal it on the next turn with Dak Faden. But because I did not get any of those Accelerators at all, I have to sort of just sheepishly blow up the Mana Crypt after it's already done a great deal of damage to me in the form of deploying his guy on turn 1. So I gotta hope that he doesn't have a lot of early pressure, and he's got to come into play tap land, which of course he'll be able to immediately untap with his commander. I take 3. This guy effectively has Vigilance too, which is kind of cool. Golgari Signet. Okay, well, he's down to just 3 cards in hand, but I've already potentially a lot of mana next turn. All right, I got to draw something good. Any Accelerator would be amazing. Unfortunately, my deck just delivers another nice flexible land in the form of Command Tower. So with nothing better to do, I'm going to play Nin here. I could play Expedition Map, and I did give that some thought. I figured that if he's got a thing that untaps land, I might be able to kill off the Woodland Chasm. And he doesn't have any blue mana sources either. If I can go use Expedition Map to get a Strip Mine, then I can maybe keep him off blue mana for a while, and that might prevent him from doing other nasty things to me. I'm definitely planning on using Dak Faden to kill his, or to steal his Golgari Signet next turn. So playing the Expedition Map would be keeping in theme with that. Plus, if I play the map, I can go fetch up Ancient Tomb to play Thran Dynamo. But I kind of decided that I'd rather just play Nin here and maybe just kind of keep him busy. He's playing the colors, certainly with black and green. He has the ability to kill creatures, I'm sure. So I'm playing Nin here just kind of as a bluff. This is a feint to try to just slow him down a little bit, maybe tie up his mana, killing my commander and buying me enough time to get this Dynamo online and hopefully get my way back into this game before really big bad things happen. Yeah, right. 2 mana, 3. Oh, God, what is this? Oh, Kodama's Reach. Beautiful. So he gets 1 tap land and 1 regular land. They both come into play, and of course, the Jorn, God of Winter, can just attack and immediately untap everything. It's nothing like a free Kodama's Reach. Take another 3. And he plays Boreal Outrider, another snow-themed creature, brand new from Kaldheim. And little slow, little gimmicky, but obviously if he has a bunch of different... He's going to be playing lots of snowman on his guys, so every one of his creatures comes into play with +1/+1. That could be problematic, particularly if he's got things that utilize counters on creatures, so we'll have to see. All right, I draw another land. It's starting to get a little bit uncomfortable here. I need to draw something that can interact, but at least this turn I can just play the Dak Faden and snag the Golgari Signet, try to slow him down and develop my own mana a little further. I just need to draw some kind of business before I take too much damage. Already on a relatively quick clock, although I expect at least 3 points of damage is going to be going Dak's way this turn. All right, he's tapping some mana here. Blessing of Frost, another brand new card from Kaldheim. And wow, is this powerful. He's paying 4 snow mana. This gives him +4 +1/+1 counters for 4 mana, and it's landing on 2 creatures with 3 power, which means they'll both have 4+, which means it's a draw 2, distribute 4 counters for 4 mana. That is pretty insane. So nothing I can do about it, of course. And now both of these guys are 5 power, and suddenly things look really bleak. The question is, how much damage is he going to throw at my face? Is he going to let Dak live? I see him attack 1 creature at Dak. You can see the Outriders also at Dak, and I think he reconsiders here, and then he thinks for a second. And now this is pointed at me. And given the situation, of course, if he sends 1 at Dak and 1 at me, there's no way in a million years I'm going to chump block to save 5 damage with Nin the Painter. It's just way too important to draw cards. So I think for him, from his perspective, this is the correct attack. Send Jorn or one of these guys. Actually, I think you should send Jorn at me and Boreal Outrider at Dak Faden. And that way, if Jorn hits me, he gets 5 more commander damage and takes me all the way up to 11, which means that even if I'm able to stabilize somewhat, Jorn can kill me in 2 more hits. And then he reconsiders again, and now they're both coming at Dak, which I think is actually a bit of a mistake. I can understand him being conservative. Maybe he's worried about me chump blocking, but the truth of the matter is that maybe he just doesn't have a lot of experience with Nin the Pain Artist, doesn't realize how potent and powerful the card is, but recognizing the fact that I would never chump block here in 100 years, probably, given unless I had, I don't know, some sort of a board wipe that could kill everything, and that would be hard to have with this much mana. It makes very, very little sense for him to send both of these creatures at Dak, but of course I'm very, very glad to soak up 10 damage with my Planeswalker after stealing a Golgari Signet. And that 10 damage could actually prove to be decisive as we get further along into the game. And he's got a post-combat Arcane Signet. Nothing else going on. Okay, I got to draw something of consequence. I've drawn really no interactive cards outside of my opening hand. Got to get something here. Okay, well, I mean, it's not the best thing in the world, but it is Memory Lapse. Reminds me, I got to look around and see if there's a better picture for this. I hate the 7th edition picture. I really need the Homelands one. But I am going to play the Thran Dynamo here. It does mean that I can't use Nin for 1 more turn, but I can at least afford to take 10 more damage, and at least because Thran Dynamo makes mana and he does not have any way to kill it, apparently, I can Memory Lapse at least his next play, provided it's not uncounterable. Oh gosh, what's going on over here? Guardian Project. Huh, I've seen a lot of this. I've seen this card played a bunch, actually. It's kind of interesting. It's obviously very tailor-made for Commander when you have no creatures that have the same name. So a little source of card advantage in green. Kind of cool. A little bit slow, but it can definitely go off. And now he's attacking. He basically casts it for free, and there's 10 damage incoming. I kind of got to just take this right on the chin, knocking me all the way down to 18 and 11 Commander. And post-combat, he's tapping a bunch of mana. Looks like 6. I'm thinking, oh boy, what is this? Well, if it's Mind Twist, at least I can Memory Lapse it for a turn. But it's actually too much mana for Mind Twist. What is he doing? Torment of Hailfire. Nasty. Repeat the following process X times. So this is for 4. I have to either sack 4 non-land permanents or discard cards from my hand. And if I don't, I lose 3 life per thing I don't do. So if I could like discard the Fjord and maybe discard Expedition Map or something and take 6. But I don't want to sack anything in play, obviously, because I need all my mana right now. And, well, I could discard 2 cards. I really can't afford to take 6 damage here. I kind of just have to Memory Lapse, as much as I would like Torment of Hailfire to kind of resolve so I can ignore it. I feel like I can't afford to take any damage. So I'm going to sack the Rainforest, go get an island, and just lapse this for a turn and hope I can deal with it another way. Fortunately, I do have a commander that can kind of deal with it a little bit. Negate. Okay, well, that'll allow me to stop it. I'm just going to play the Mystic Mana Confluence here. and pass with a bunch of mana untapped, and I'm going to plan on doing the little block and shoot thing. And we'll see what he does. He draws one card. All right, they're both coming in. Okay, and before I can block, he assassins trophies on the Nin. Okay, well, I probably would not have tapped all of my mana here. My plan actually was to just block the Jorn and then tap 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, leaving Confluence and Command Tower untapped. I would have drawn 5 cards and mitigated 5 damage, and then been able to negate the Torment of Hailfire, or possibly let it resolve. If I just drew a bunch of junk, I would just discard 4 cards from my hand, and that would be fine, given the fact that I just drawn them all from Nin, and some of them may not matter. But the fact that he's doing this pre-combat means that I've got a lot of choices. And the fact that he has only 1 card left in hand, I know what the card is. It's Torment of Hailfire. I realize that I can take 10 damage here, but I can also completely tap out now to draw cards off of Nin, given the fact that I know exactly what his last card is. And so I don't need to keep negate up. I can just simply discard a bunch of junk to it instead and save the negate for something more palpable. So I do go down to 6. I'm going to tap a ton of mana here. This is a full draw 7, I believe. All right, so thinking about what I need to get here, the possible outs from these 7 cards would be, I'm going to take 10. Treachery would be amazing. I could draw Cyclonic Rift. Shackles, unfortunately, is a little bit too slow, given the fact that I'm only going to have 4 blue mana, or 4 islands in play at max. Although, yeah, I have the Expedition map. I don't have the other one, the Wayfarer's Bauble. So I don't have any way to get 2 islands into play. And a few other things, I guess I could hypothetically just draw some blockers for a turn. There's a lot of things I like to buy, but But ideally, the card that I think I really, really want to get the most is just simply Rolling Earthquake. If we can get lucky and get Rolling Earthquake, that will give us a path to deliverance, even though we'll be at 1. All right, draw 7. Boom, excellent. All right, Rolling Earthquake arrives and then goes back to the command zone. And I take 10 damage, dropping to 6 and 16 commander. The game is on a knife's edge. And of course, he's tapping out now to cast this Torment of Hailfire, which has no impact on him at all, since he has no cards in hand. So he can just ignore. Wait, oh, no, it's each opponent anyway. It's not symmetric, obviously. Okay, so could sack some permanents, or I can discard a bunch of cards. Obviously, I'm going to go for the latter choice. And as far as what's in my hand, Copy Artifact, incredibly powerful because of Thran Dynamo. Mystical Tutor, very, very important, I think, for the long term here. Impulse is good. Volatile Fjord, I think, is a little too slow. I don't think I need Expedition Map. He's got plenty of mana. Is it Signet? Again, kind of slow. I know I need Rolling Earthquake, and I think I can discard Steam Vent. So that means that I'm going to throw away these 4 cards. So it's going to be Land, Signet, and Expedition Map. I already have plenty of mana in play anyway. And Copy Artifact makes 3 mana anyway, which is pretty much like all 3 of those things combined. So all that stuff goes away. And he's got 0 cards, so I do have a chance. All right, Disallow's very nice. It's really good to have a hard counter that doesn't kill me. Okay, well, first things first. I start to think about the mana, and then I realize, oh wait, I'm just going to let's make a copy of the Thran Dynamo first. This makes it a lot more elegant. And that's right, for the millionth time with this deck, I am voluntarily going down to 1. And unfortunately, there was no way for me to actually get my mana to work here to allow me to cast Disallow. So I've got Mana Confluence, of course. That would kill me, and I can't pitch Force of Will, because that would kill me also. So Mana Confluence and Force of Will both working when I'm at 1. Not so great, but better than being dead, I suppose. Everything goes away. He's at 0 cards in hand, but of course with his commander available, Guardian Project will immediately cantrip and draw him a card. And sure enough, he casts Jorn and draws. Okay. I gotta just be okay with that. So at the end of the turn, I think I'm going to Impulse here. Nothing to Mystical Tutor for really yet that would be particularly impactful, given the fact that he's got a creature in play. I just need to draw into some kind of an answer that isn't bounce. And I can always use Mystical Tutor as a backup anyway if I don't draw anything that can immediately interact with this guy off the Impulse. So I'm going to float an extra mana here just in case of something like Daze. Okay, not bad at all. 2 fetch lands, obviously these are also lethal. Snapcaster is pretty good, but unfortunately there's nothing in the graveyard of consequence, and that means that the recently added Spellseeker is going to pull my feet out of the fire here. giving me a blocker against Jorn as well as an additional spell. And Mox Opal is really nice. Another source of blue that doesn't hurt me. I'm going to tap those. Cast Spellseeker. All right, so lots of choices here. I'm going to bring up the deck. Those are all the choices here. Whole bunch of blue cards and a braid sitting on top. So obviously most of these don't matter. Cards to consider would be something like Cyclonic Rift. Muddle could, I don't know, transmute into a couple of random things, but nothing really deals with it. And after considering a bunch of different choices here, I ultimately realized that the best plan of action is probably to just simply get a braid. It's very straightforward, linear, interactive in a way that I need it to be. He's got 2 cards in hand and he's mostly tapped out. And I'd rather just make Jorn prohibitively expensive so I don't have to deal with it. So with that in mind, I'm going to pick up the braid. Just thinking through my mana here. And even though it means I'm going to be letting my guard down again for a turn, I feel like, I mean, sure, there's a small possibility that he could kill me here, I guess with some kind of a black burn spell. But I feel it's so important for me to get Nin into play this turn and give him one opportunity to deploy something. Having Mystical Tutor in my hand really gives me the ability to probably interact with nearly anything that he could play, even if it was something huge and nasty. And I decide that playing Nin the Pain Artist this turn is just more important, because I really need to get an activation off next turn in order to contend with the fact that he's got Guardian Project and his commander could come back again. And all he has, fortunately for me, is Krufix, God of Horizons. Very powerful in some situations. Obviously, totally harmless at this point in time. He only has Devotion 3. So I breathe a huge sigh of relief. And I'm just going to go back to my turn. There's no reason to Mystical Tutor yet. I can do that in response with Nin activation on the stack. And I draw Coalition Relic. I'm not going to bother to cast it yet because it's way more efficient from a card drawing perspective to keep these dynamos untapped. And I'm, of course, not going to attack with Spellseeker because of random stuff with haste, which can be all over the place in green. At the end of the turn, he floats 1 mana, and it converts to just generic snow. All right, what's going on here? Dead of Winter. All snow, non-snow creatures get -X/-X. Okay, well, that's the board. And I didn't really give much thought to negating this. I think it's better for me to just tap a bunch of mana. And since he's effectively nearly tapped out, I decide that I'm going to leave enough mana back to disallow. This is another draw 7 effect, and it feels like effective enough that whatever his follow-up is, I should be able to counter that and not have to worry. So I draw 7, Nin dies again, and I get quite a hand. Archmage's Charm, Cryptic Command, Forbid, Trinket Mage, and the Mighty Shackles. And then post-combat he casts Hailstorm Valkyrie and draws a card off that, but he doesn't have any snow mana available right now, so I don't have to worry about it getting too big. And then he plays Overgrown Tomb, and he takes the damage, which has me a little bit concerned. Hopefully that's not too important. Hole Breacher. Holy moly. He makes his second appearance in just as many games. God, every time I draw this creature, I'm just thinking, holy shit, this thing is so insane. Like, what does he do if Hole Breacher's in play? So many of the things in his deck, I'm sure, like Guardian Project, just enable me now. So I'm going to play the Shackles. And immediately, I'm going to cast Trinket Mage with the mana floating, go get a Soul Ring. Just ramp the mana some more. Go ahead and grab that guy. And I'm just going to cast Mystical Tutor here in lieu of discarding. Lots of choices. But I've got multiple hard counters in hand. I already have Cyclonic Rift, and that means that I'm going to go for the all-purpose catch-all, deal with whatever the hell your opponent might play, and that is Amnesia going on top of the deck. I'm going to leave a fair amount of mana untapped here so that I can counter multiple times if I need to. And as far as discard is concerned, my hand is just stacked at this point. I'm already setting up a combo, and Force of Will, really at this point in the game, is just a 5-mana hard counter, and that's pretty terrible. So that's going to go to the graveyard along with the Coalition Relic. All right, he plays Astrolabe. Look at this. And Hole Breacher comes down in response to the cantrip effect. And that is so glorious. And the reason I feel safe to do this is because unless this is a counterspell in his hand, in which case he counters Hole Breacher, Astrolabe resolves. I guess he cantrips 1 card, so it could potentially go badly. But provided that I'm able to steal the card draw and turn it into a mana, I still have 2 mana plus his additional thing, and that activates both Disallow and Forbid and Archmage's Charm, so I'm still safe. And sure enough, it works. He doesn't draw a card off his Astrolabe. And he's tapping a bunch of mana with nothing better to do. He casts Jorn, God of Winter, and draw a card that's not even a May, so he has to give me another treasure. So delicious. God, Hullbreacher is so insane. All right, there's the Amnesia. So I'm going to just rift him, and thanks to these treasures, I can safely just blow him out with Amnesia. Crazy. Look at all that stuff gone. 5 for 1. Well, I guess effectively it's 5 for 2. Now I can just smash in here, knowing that I've got his next draw step blunted completely. And all he has is a land. He cannot even replay his commander. Cool. Keep the Shackles tapped. Draw a useless Prismatic Vista. Just going to attack for 7 again. And cast Nin. Feeling pretty confident at this point. There's a small, narrow range of things that he could draw. I mean, I guess maybe attacking is a little bit reckless. There are a few things he could cast that have haste, for example, like the Mistcutter Hydra. If you were to cast Mistcutter Hydra, it has haste and can't be countered. Could actually force me to chump block with Nin. So maybe I shouldn't be actually attacking with his creature, but, you know, what can you do? Can't account for everything. He plays the Palace. And since he has no cards in hand, I feel I can safely Archmage's Charm to just double draw. And I get another counterspell in the form of Force Negation. Okay. Oh, man. It's just when it rains, it pours. Smash for 7 again here. Play Wasteland. Pass it back. And look at this. Scarab God. Well, normally you'd be afraid of Scarab God, but in this situation, Scarab God is beyond delicious. I mean, there isn't really much he can do anyway. But this combo, I talked about it in my last video. Totally insane. At least this is the first time I actually get to deploy it in the game. Check this out. Nice creature you got there. Ay, ay, ay. This is literally better than shooting his guy. Because at this stage in the game, with 7 cards in my hand, mana is way more important than cards. And yes, that's right. Tap Nin at end of turn, generate 14 treasures. So sick. And imagine if I had Tezzeret the Seeker in play. Tezzeret can just turn all of these things into 5/5s and just smash for 1,000,000 damage. This actually gives this combo is a really viable way to end a game in multiplayer, actually, because you can put so many treasures into play so quickly that a single activation of Tezzeret can just simply kill the entire table once you've taken control. So I'm looking forward to doing that down the road. And all you Nin fans out there, if you're playing this deck or you're playing a similar version of it, always be looking for that combo. It actually gave Nin a very, very easy way to kill all 3 opponents at once. Just yet another disgusting, insane thing that Hullbreacher is capable of doing. Cool. Crucible is kind of nice. Can attack for 7 here. All right. Play the Volatile Fjord. At the end of his turn, he gets his guy back, and I'm thinking, yeah, go right ahead and play that. He does have a land here, so he plays his guy, and he does have enough mana to use the ability. And I figure, well, in case I've made some mistake, there's something in the graveyard that allows him to deal 1 damage to me, somehow uncounterable. I don't really want to deal with that, so rather than mess around and do Nin's trick again, I'm just going to counter draw this. And there's Workshop. No cards in hand, and that is, of course, checkmate. Whew. Victory at 1 life. Crazy game. Just beaten down so hard at the beginning. I was so lucky to have the Vandal Blast to deal with that first turn crypt. Took so much damage, and I mentioned before about how that attack that he did where he decided not to fork damage between me and Dak Faden, and he sent both guys at Dak Faden, was absolutely decisive. Because in that game, if he, I don't know if I had another way out. If I draw that Rolling Earthquake, if I take 5 extra damage, I'm already at 1 life, and so Rolling Earthquake does nothing. And all I can really do, I think, is probably just cast the Spellseeker that I got and go get Cyclonic Rift. And then I'm in this just terrible situation where I'm trying to just deal with both of his guys constantly for the rest of the game while trying to dig my way out of it. And it might have worked out given how much mana I had, but I preferred the situation where I had 5 more life to burn. Completely decisive, super awesome, incredible game with a replay that worked. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and we even got to see the crazy Nin Hullbreacher shenanigans in play. I'm sure that will not be the last time, and I will definitely post a video the next time I have that interaction going. So stay tuned for some more Commander games down the road. Don't have any games in the queue right now. There will be some 7-point Old School Singleton content next, but I will be back with Commander and hope you guys can join me for that. See you then.